Okay, you're going to find that this assignment is very complicated. So what I'm going to do, what I'm trying to do is make it so that you have the basics of the assignment, because that's what's most important to me, is what they're trying to get you to work with. First off, you've got these sheets. You have the mailing sheets, which I would like to call your mama, okay, because it's the main sheet that you're pulling data from. In this case, it's pulling data from this sheet and bringing it into mailing stats and the criteria. Now I have one other mama here, which is the employee insurance, and that's going to be working with some of this other information. So let's go back and come back to mailings and do the first part of the instructions on the sheet. The instructions I found to be ambiguous, so I want to make sure that, what I've gone through this several times and finally gotten come to a conclusion, and that's the reason why I want to make sure that you're not suffering, because I have a feeling everybody will drop the class at that point. So here we are. I've gone through number 1 and I'm getting ready to start number 2. Okay, my first instruction is to create a range called responses in cells A3 through D8. And so I'm going to go there and create that range. So I'm here at A3 through D, oh, I'm sorry, it's 28. And here we go. And I define my name, and that's called responses. Now I'm going to start to build this formula. And this is where it gets difficult in the building part, right? My first criteria search is for this town named Carthage, and that one I'm going to be working with. And then I'm going to be building this formula, and the formula encompasses all of this D, E, F, G, and H. So don't stop at any one point in it to check your results, or you'll get a result that is not correct. So here I come, and I'm going to begin my formula, and then I'm now in cell C21, and I'm starting the index lookup reference. And so I'm going to come here to index, and in this one we're starting out with an array, okay, and a row number column number array. And so the first thing it asks me is to select the range from the mailing sheet, which is the one we created, which is here. If I hit my F3 function key so that I could get my range names, click responses, okay, and now when I'm in this row number, I need to bring open this is a nested activity, so I need to bring over the match function now. And I'm looking at, in the match function, I'm going to select whatever is in B21. And then I'm going to go over and in the mailing sheet again for the lookup array. So I need to come down here to the lookup array, go to the mailing sheet, and here in the mailing sheet I'm going to go through A3 through A28, and the match type is 0. Now this is where it's really, really tricky. Up here in this next menu, technically I'm done with this part of the formula. However, the second part of the formula is, let me show you from the instructions again, is this G area. And I need to get that formula inside this one. So what I'm going to do is click between the two parentheses inside the formula. So I'm looking up here in the FX, and I've clicked between the two and put in a comma. Now I can come back to my function library and choose the match function. See, now I've got another nested match inside this one, and I'm going to finish off the argument. And so at this point, this is what I need to do. My argument is in, the lookup array is in mailings on D3. Okay, after I've selected mailings D3, I want to go to the lookup array. So I click inside that area, and there I want, again in mailings, A3 through D3. So it's A3 through a D3, and then I put in the 0. And what this does is it gives you a match function that's going column-wise and row-wise. And when I click on OK, I get the result for Carthage. And then the next part of that formula is to type in this city, SMYRNA, and I get the result from that one as well. So basically what we're saying is that of this list that's here, and if you just want to double check it, we could do a quick filter and then just come up and pull those two cities just to see if my information was correct. And so and I see that it was 343 for Carthage and 300 for the other cities. So I'm just going to turn my filter off again and come back, and I'm ready for the next part of this activity. So in essence, what I've done is I've completed up through J. So now we're building the next formula, which is called a DSUM or DATEVALUE. So again, we're using our same table mailings, but we're using a different area in the workbook. So we come over and we use the criteria sheet, and we type in a criteria. And the criteria here is supposed to be a lowercase l, an with an asterisk. And the asterisk simply means that anything with an LAN and any letters after it would apply. So those letters are in on that criteria. And now I'm going to come back to my mailing stats and find the data, create this next formula. So in here, what I'm going to the DSUM, and when I first went to use this for the function on my formulas, it's not a function I use often. So when I came here, I didn't see it on my list. It's there now because I used it the first time. But you can, if you don't have it on your list, then you just go to Insert Function, and here you just type in what you're looking for, and just hit your Enter, and it will bring up the function that you're looking for. And then you have all the function arguments that you need for that particular function. Okay, so again, we're looking at the responses information, and I'm looking here, and I'm going to do my F3 and pick up my responses names, the name of range, named range, and that's the wrong one. What's going on here? Okay, so I want to make sure I'm in the right sheet here. Okay, well that certainly did tell you that I have two screens going and the other one has the answers on it. So here we go. Again, my insert function, and I was looking for the DSUM. It's there now, but I searched for it before. So it's just because it's most recently used, and I'll click on it. And now we're going through and we're pulling the responses named range. And I hit F3. Responses, okay. Now the field in this one is 3, and the criteria is the next part of this. Come over to my criteria, and I choose the department and the statement that I put in there. Then I hit my F4 function key to make that absolute and hit OK. And there's my total. So next part of the instruction. Okay, this next part of the instruction, they're trying to make it easy for you by copying the other formula and then changing it. And I don't know if that's easier or not, but I'll show you what the instruction's telling you to do. Okay, so if you came here and copied this formula you just created, came over to the total responses and pasted, but see, it brings up the total from the one in front of it. What it really wants you to do is bring up the total for, and this is, let's see, let's look at that criteria again so you can see. The field is the third field in this one, and we want the fourth one. And go. There you go. So now you've got your information for that one. And that is what they're asking for, is to change that. So that's what's going on here. Okay, I'll tell you what they want you to do on this next one, which is they just want you to finish this and do the same DSUM functions in B8 and B through C9. So what you have to do is to build that criteria statement again. And let me show you what's going down at that one. Okay, in this one, in the second criteria, you're looking for LAW. So you're coming here, you're doing the LAW with an asterisk, and in the third, it's PAT with an asterisk. Oops, lowercase p. PAT with an asterisk, and you've got those two criteria built. So what happens with this is you're using the same item, but you could just, again, copy the cell down like you did here and just change the criteria response. So what you would do with the second one is change the criteria to here and make that the F4 function key. And then with the third one, you would again change the criteria to the new area with the F4 function key for your absolute values. And if you're using a Mac, by the way, it's the FN plus 4, I believe. I'll have to look that up again. I had it the other day, but okay, there you go. And there you've got what's going on with those 2 bits of criteria. Now, in here, because we're working just like we did up here with the 4th row, now we're working with the 4th row in this one, and so all you would have to do is change that to 4. Come back. Wait, where is it? Yeah, that's 4 now. And this is 4. Okay, for the total responses. Okay, so if I check my result, yes, we're good. And now we need to come back to our instruction sheet and make sure we've crossed everything off. So that's what this next instruction. So these instructions, again, they're very complicated. There's a lot of things going on here. So that's what I did for those 2. Now they use the sum in cells B10 through C10. So let's come back, and in B10 we're using the sum function, and in C10 we're using the sum function, which that was just the auto sum, and we hit enter after the sum is calculated. Now these are supposed to be formatted for just let's see, No currency, just comma style. Just comma style, no decimal places. So you're just formatting using this. Comma style, and get rid of the decimal places. So that takes that information off. Now we're creating an IFS function to display. And that would be over here in response rate. And that's where we're going into the IFS. So if we went into our formulas and we look at IFS are logical, so it would be up here in the logical IFS. And again, if you don't have it on your list, then of course just go to your insert function and type it in, IFS. Now I'm here and I'm looking for the next part of this, which is to click, let's see. So my logical test for this one is C7 divided by B7. So I'm just clicking on C7 and I'm dividing it by B7. And the true component of that is that it would be C15, and that's an absolute value. Oh, I didn't finish, I'm sorry, I didn't finish this, my logical test. Let's come back up here. My logical test is C7 divided by B7 is greater than or equal to 20%. Okay. then they get that excellent. So it's 20% or above, they get the excellent rating. And if not, then they go into the next logical test. And this is what they used to call this a nested if. And basically that's all it is. It's just taking a whole series of if statements. So it's saying, then it's going, okay, then if that's the case, then you say C7 divided by B7 is greater than or equal to 15%. Then it should be very good. And F4 function key. And so we come down and we got another logical test. And this is C7 divided by B7 again is greater than or equal to 10%. Then we need a true portion to that. So let's hit the tab key and there we go. That's going to be good. Oops, why did I get a plus in there? I shouldn't have got a plus. Okay, there. And that'll be my F4 function key. And then I'm going to the next one. So I'm not done there yet. No, not ready to hit enter. And that would be here. The logical test again would be if C7 divided by B7 is less than or equal to, oh, you know what, they stopped it there. They're just saying that this up here should have been, all right, let's go back. Okay, so we don't have a logical test there then. So what we're doing is we're saying 10% is less than or equal to 10%. We didn't do the 15% one though. 10% and above. We need to do that one to get the good. Well, let me see here. So I need the 10% or above to get the good. So this has to be larger. Oh, I have one of them wrong. Okay, this one needs to be 11%. That's why. Okay, so it's 10% and above is what it is. So this one has to be if it's greater than or equal to 11%. Okay, then we go to C17. Now we're down to the last logical test, which would be C7 divided by B7 is less than or equal to 10%. And that answer is going to be this one, which should not come up with a plus in front of it. It's because I hit that tab. But wasn't giving me the spot, so that's why I did it. Then the F4 function key, and now that should finish it. Okay, so it's a little bit easier to read when you see it this way, but that gives you the entire formula. Here, let me show it to you in the long form back here. I like to see my formulas out sometimes. That's with the control tilde that I did that, so that I got the formula there that everything that's going to be happening to this one. So let's come back now and just pull this down, and it gives me the results I need. And then I need, oh, I should also bring it here. And so those are the results that I should have, and I'm good on that one. Let's save it. For you Mac users, that option for F4 that I was using for Windows is FN plus the F4. And that's just to give you an idea. Okay, now we're going to do the SUMIFS. And patience now, we're almost there. Okay, here we're using similar arguments for the city names as far as the wildcards and those types of things that we used in the last one. Remember over here in the criterion, these we threw in these wildcards. But now we're going to be throwing some inside the formula. And so again, the SUMIFS would be a logical test, and I don't see them there. So I'm going to come up here and just type it in as SUMIF. There you go. And this was just with the S, SUMIFS, because it looks like we got a few there. Okay, so here we go. All right, so the range is F4 through F23. So we're summing these. F4 through F23. And that is an absolute value. And then we've got the criteria range of E4 through E23. So it's here, E4 through E23, and again, an absolute value. And then we're putting in the criteria, which is anything B, R, E, and any letters after it. Okay, then we have our second criteria range, which is D4 through D23. And that's F4 function key, and the criteria is land with anything after it. So we're going to click on OK, and there's your result. And then we come down here for the human resources one, and we can just copy this because the ranges are the same. The only things that are different are these criteria bits. So you just have to come in and type in the criteria for this one is SPR asterisk, and in this one the criteria is HUM asterisk. We're good there. Come down to this one, hit my function key, and the criteria there was FOR asterisk, and here was PAT, oh, no capitals there, PAT asterisk, and that was this one. Now we're back down to the next, hit my insert function, and the criteria with this one is GAL asterisk, and the last part of it is LAW asterisk, and go. All right, next steps. So in this one, they're telling you that these date cells here were imported in the improper format, so we need to fix them by making them a value rather than a label. So we're coming into the birth date sheet, and we're selecting these cells and we're copying them. Then you're going over into G4 through G23 here, and just paste them there. And they do want you to paste the values. Let's see, values, that's where you want. Just make sure you paste the values. And select H4 and use the date value to convert. Okay, so here's H4. And we're using the date value command. Well, that one should be up here in date. There it is, date value. And in here, we're turning around and we're saying, okay, G4 to a serial number and copy the formula to okay. So we're doing G4 here and see what we get. Oh, we got the number. Okay, I get it. And then select that one and copy the formula to H5 through 23. So we're just bringing her down. And at that, copy them to the clipboard. So it's copy and select D4 and paste with the paste arrow. So we're here and paste and choose values. So it would be values. All right. And then format the values in D to short date, which we would just come back up to the format tab and choose short date. There you go. And then hide columns G and H. So it wants it still to be there. It shows you did them. So you just highlight them and hide them. And then okay, so it wants you to apply all borders to the data and make columns B and D. Okay, so all you're doing is you're coming here and accidentally grabbed the data wrong. So I want to grab this part of it, and we're doing all borders, so we just come up to our borders, choose all borders, and then it wants columns B through D to be 3.57 wide. So we want B through D. So what I've done is I've highlighted each one of those columns, B through D, and then I can grab it here, and it wants it 13.57, so 13. For heaven's sakes. Okay, I fiddled around with the other way too long, so I'm decided to come over here and just grab them and go to Format, Column Width, and type in my 13.57 and click on OK. Now it's right. and save and close. So I want to save it and upload my project file. So I'm going to close it out.